Good evening and welcome to New York Crypto Talk. Today ends consensus day 1 for 2018. A lot of things happened today. A lot of great information has been shared with the crypto sphere and a lot of things have been announced. Obviously, things are still trickling in, so I'm just taking what I have so far that's been shared on Twitter, what's been shared on live streams. Obviously, there's still a lot of news that probably hasn't made it out, or it just hasn't as high of a volume, or people might have missed it. I might not follow everyone that everyone else might, so I am just hitting on some of the high notes of the actual event. Looking at the coin market cap, obviously, this is something people have been looking into and been talking about for days on end, myself included. The market cap is currently sitting at $405 billion. We're actually seeing a lot of red today. Obviously, it did dip down and we have seen a little bit of a recovery, but the market has not really done much of a movement, whether it's up or down in the past 24 hours. It's kind of a little bit sideways. So we will see how things go in the next couple of days. I'm sure there's still going to be a lot more information coming out. So as far as the actual market and how things are looking for the specific projects that are been having some announcements, the major one, if we go look at right now, is ZCash, which has seen a huge bump in price since its announcement this morning that it would be available on the Gemini exchange. So it is going to be the first regulated exchange in the United States that offers a privacy token. So there's a lot of great hype there. Obviously, I'm not too big on the ZCash platform, but if you hold it, more power to you. Obviously, this is a big push into the privacy sector and just getting this onto an exchange that is regulated by the government. So obviously, with the Winklevoss brothers exchange, there's a lot of great news that is going to come from this, but ZCash did see a huge bump in price. If we look at the 7-day, it was trading, give or take, around $250, and now we're seeing over $300, so over 20% raise, give or take. It did bump up to a little bit, about $345, which is fantastic if you think about what the price was before. So I'm sure there is going to be a lot of a steady rise over time for the project itself. So I'm very happy to see that ZCash did a really good move. Moving to things that people might not be as familiar with, RSK, which is also known as Rootstock. Rootstock is a sidechain, basically looking to build smart contracts on the Bitcoin platform. Basically, by building a sidechain, they're able to actually grab a contract from Bitcoin and build a smart contract through the utilization of a sidechain. And the great thing about this is they'll actually be able to scale it a little bit more than what Bitcoin has. Obviously, they're still working into the constraints of Bitcoin, but they are now live. They did have the announcement today that the mainnet is up and that they are now secured by 1 in 10 miners. So the biggest push or biggest issue that they've seen constraints from is the actual mining. Because of the cost and being able to keep up with the network, they really don't need that many miners, or they need a certain amount of miners, but they won't be able to pay them substantially, so they're not going to get as rewarded as they would if they mine something else. About 80% of the miners have already committed support in the future. Right now, it's a small fraction of the entire network currently securing the sidechain, but it's enough to be able to keep it up and running. And I think it's just a cool project, just in general, being able to utilize existing technology and be able to implement new technology on top of it and to work side by side. So obviously with Bitcoin smart contracts, there could be a lot of utilization, being the largest network right now. And they do actually have 2 partnerships right now. The first is the Inter-American Development Bank, which is a non-governmental organization looking to promote financial inclusion in Buenos Aires. The second is actually on top of the Risk platform, which is the BitGive Foundation, which is a long-standing Bitcoin-focused charity organization that's been used to funnel Bitcoin donations to Nepalese citizens affected by devastating earthquakes in 2015, among other initiatives. So really cool that they're being able to work this into existing companies right now and utilize this smart contract platform with vendors. Other things that were just mentioned today, obviously, the FedEx CEO was one of the speakers today, and he did say that blockchain will revolutionize the industry. Basically, for cross-border shipments, trust is a legal requirement for every transaction. What blockchain has in potential for the first time ever to make that information available to everyone. So awesome, great news to be able to hear the CEO of a major shipping logistics company being able to say that blockchain is going to revolutionize the technology that we use today. Another major corporation talking about launching a blockchain, SAP, which I have talked about before. They plan to implement a supply chain initiative that starts with their farm to consumer project. So companies like Johnsonville, Natura Bee Farms, and Maple Leaf are going to work as additional collaborators on the project so that they can have a cross-company collaboration along complex value chains for which the technology can remove abundant process steps and friction and establish automated trust. So we've known that SAP has been talking about blockchain for years. They've been talking about their own platform, Leonardo, but now it looks like they're actually going a little bit further and actually moving into the space. Obviously, what does this mean for projects like Sophia TX, near and dear to my heart? I don't know. Hopefully, they'll still be able to utilize the platform. So this was a picture of the actual consensus outside the event this morning, and this was the event in the afternoon. So you can see here, this was a big publicity stunt here where they had Lamborghinis parked outside the event. Ha ha ha, when Lambo. So thought this was funny. Of course, everybody in the city were talking about the Lambos that were parked outside. Also, one of the things that went on during the event, I had tweeted about it earlier. One of the closing discussions that were had was Amber Bidet had a new startup, and she was one of the key speakers in the evening with Jimmy Song, and there was a big argument about how he doesn't believe in centralization, and obviously Amber Bidet has been ranked as the #1 blockchain influencer in crypto, and has started her own company called Clover, which I'll show you about. It's basically a blockchain D-app building store, which I think is actually really interesting. And basically, Jimmy Song just went on and on about how Bitcoin is the only true decentralized platform, and it was just a long, big fight, basically. So I thought it was interesting, but obviously the company that Amber Bidet was basically talking about is here. It's called Clover. It's basically a really interesting D-app building platform that allows you to utilize and build off different types of blockchains and have integrations. You can choose if it's a permissioned platform. You can choose what integrations you want. You can choose your consensus mechanism and other things along that line. So obviously, she had a presentation. She had a lot of interesting terms and things like that, and he basically just said that they were all just words on the screen, basically. Take it with a grain of salt. He is a Bitcoin developer, and he has been around a long time, so, he has his own, love interest with Bitcoin, and obviously it's rightly said. So I hope you guys like this. Obviously, there's a lot more things happening in Consensus 2018 this week. I will try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. If I can't make a video, I'll definitely be tweeting about it, or I might even post a short video depending on how much time I have. But I hope you guys like this. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of new videos, and please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Have a fantastic evening. Thanks again.